Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Wednesday, the 13th of November. All right, just having a look at the MyFX Trading Hub page as we come into the Asian session. The next 24 hours, this is the main part of the trading week, or where trading really starts. Now, if you've had some trades earlier in the week, haven't turned out well, we haven't had a lot of direction. Now, there's been no major change in the overall analysis. Okay, the dollar still holding on to recent gains, but you know what? It is stalling, right? So, and why is it stalling? Well, we just haven't had any fresh fundamental drivers into the market. And so people start squaring up positions, it starts trading sideways, and it loses that momentum. So that's what we're looking for is from today is to really get the trading opportunities going. And what I'm talking about is when you come down and have a look at the upcoming major events, well, we've got a big array of data coming out across all time zones. In the Asian session or the Australasian session, we've got the wage price index and the RBNZ. Keep an eye on both of those things. Obviously, the RBNZ will be probably a lot wilder than the wage price index. The inflation in wages hasn't really been happening at all in Australia. So if there's weak numbers here, it should add to the downside in the Aussie. And of course, the RBNZ can really determine what happens to the Kiwi from here. Everyone's sort of waiting to see what they're going to do. No change in rates expected, but they often come out with left field comments, which I often think are negligent as far as the central bank goes, but they often do it a lot. So then you come into the UK session or the European session, you got that UK CPI. Once again, this is a number one release for sterling, but with Brexit still banging away, it's going to be pretty hard to work out if it does actually impact at all. And this is where the main part of the day or the week comes into me. Like the US dollar is the backbone of the financial markets. We've now got their number one inflation number, the CPI, and we've also got Fed Powell testifying about 2.5 hours afterwards. But this CPI number is very important. Okay, we've seen the Fed, they are happy to move and adjust policy based on inflation and employment. So this is the number one thing. If we get weak CPI, the US dollar should get sold off. If we see stronger CPI, well, it's going to rally. And that's what we're waiting for with all these currency pairs. We're waiting to see, right, where the dollar's going. If we see where the dollar's going, as you can sort of see at the moment, it has got a strong presence. It gives all the other pairs direction. And that's great trading sort of backbone. But what we want to see, and this is what we haven't been seeing a lot of, we want to start to see some really strong trending markets, which is, you know, we're dealing with moderate to generally weak markets at the moment. We want this, and it's going to come from the US CPI. That's where it potentially will come from. And it will light up the screens and trading will be fun, right? That's the way we look at it. So just having a quick look at the charts to wrap up. You know, there's not a hell of a lot going on. I mean, as it is, US holiday Monday, this is always the case. The week is slow, and especially with the US CPI on Wednesday, it's a target for the market. So everyone waits for it. So the Aussie sort of just dribbling lower, not with no major momentum. The Kiwi had a little pop higher here yesterday. It was coming down. So we've just adjusted that resistance level. Now sort of just trading sideways around 63.30 as we wait the RBNZ. Very important. You can see that there's a lack of momentum in dollar yen, just trading sideways through that support line in the cloud. Euro actually was dancing around this trend line yesterday. It looked like we were going to get a little spike up towards, say, 111, but it didn't eventuate, and the trend is still holding. Okay, it hasn't gone far, but you know what? It's still there. I think the euro, you know, if we get really weak US CPI numbers, then the euro break trade at the top side has got to be a pretty good option for a very short-term trade. That should spike higher. And at the same time, strong numbers, it goes with the trend. I'm looking for a downside trade as well. Sterling, well, Brexit is throwing this thing all over the place. Does the CPI impact? I don't know. I don't think so. It's too hard to call for my liking. And you can see dollar CAD had that initial spike, now trading sideways. That previous resistance line is pretty much no good to us. So that's what we're left with there. So all up, we've got plenty to look at, right? US CPI is going to impact all of these currencies. You just got to work out which ones are the best. Now, the RBNZ, we will have that later today. So keep an eye out for the sentiment from them and what happens to the Kiwi. That's a good lead in. It gives you direction for a possible US CPI result. Now, Euro to me looks like the best setup, both sides of the market. I'm not really looking at sterling and dollar CAD. Well, oil's back at 56 bucks. I wouldn't be surprised to see it drift lower, but we're going to need weaker US numbers to get that into play. Aussie and Kiwi, besides the RBNZ today and the wage price index and the Aussie, the China thing, right, is still in the balance, and no one really knows how to play this. It's a little bit tricky. And if I just bring you over to the dollar page I've got here, and you can see, you can see that dollar index is trading sideways as we await the US CPI numbers. But check out the price action here on dollar yuan, right? So we had that clean out below 696. It's now back up to 702. This is the whole time whilst Trump is sort of flapping about, looking at, this whole China issue, the deal. Is there a deal or no deal? It's like this is the best political play Trump's got. So I don't think he's going to do a deal or sign anything until this impeachment stuff goes away, which is, still hanging around. And that's all you've got to work with. So the markets, the news services, everyone's been starved of information. Today's US CPI data and the Fed chairman's testimony will be the key parts. And hopefully we get something a bit oddball to give these currencies some life, because at the moment they're sort of just drifting around, and it's, you know what, to me, it just sucks, right? All you got to do is we're going to follow the analysis, wait for the setup, wait for the opportunity, then trade, right? And that's what we're waiting for. And that's why the data is so important. All right, guys, that's it from me. A bit long-winded, but hopefully that makes sense. Have a good trade day. Cheerio.